and good morning. It is 10 o'clock on March 16th, one day before St. Patty's Day, and shout out to my buddy Norman, who has an Irish band, and they love to play St. Patty's Day. Unfortunately, all the events have been canceled this year, and last year was the beginning of it, so he enjoys playing, and any case, let's give it about a minute and a half more, and we'll start the meditation at 10:02. Okay, thanks so much for joining. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Actually, let me, before I forget, turn my heater off because it makes too much noise during the meditation. For me, I don't like trying to compete with it and speak over it. Let's see. It is Tuesday morning, and I'm back home at my house. Hopefully, I'll be here for a while. Mom's going to be in rehab for a couple weeks, so I might go back over there after that, but right now just enjoying being home, being in my own bed, my own neighborhood, eating my own food. So let's meditate. And just getting yourself nice and comfortable. And just taking a nice deep breath in. Just really letting go of all the stress, letting go of all the worries, letting go of all the busyness of the mind, just letting go of it. There's nowhere you need to go. There's nothing you need to do right now. There's nothing you need to figure out, actually, in this meditation and ever. There's nothing you ever need to figure out. That is turning to the head, turning to the mind. We want to turn to the heart. And the heart answers and solutions show up in a way of intuition and just this sense, and sometimes spirit communicates directly with us, or it might be a song or a person, but God is always listening. God is always responding in kind when it's needed, where it's needed, how it's needed. And so just let go of your need to be anywhere else. I once heard Eckhart Tolle, or saw a quote Eckhart Tolle shared that says, you've heard the one quote I've used with stress quite often, wanting life to be different than what it is. But another quote that he uses is being here but wanting to be there. Being here but wanting to be there, meaning that we're not embracing this present moment. We're wanting to be somewhere else because there's something about this situation that our mind is saying is bad or wrong, and it doesn't like it. And that will, of course, immediately cause stress because, again, you're wanting things to be different than what they are. If I'm being honest with you, I tell you this many times that I do these meditations as much for myself as I do for anyone else. And that's no different today, and whoever wants to, be a part of it. And of course, my commitment is also to you as well, the people that do join in, that the words that flow through, and I think of a Bible quote that they use in unity churches sometimes. Let the meditations of my heart. I don't quite remember the quote, so we'll let it go. But it's essentially saying, let the words flow through and the meditation of my heart take you to a deeper place of truth, of joy, of peace. My mind has been busy, and I have been a little bit caught up in my person lately. And so for me right now, as I turn to God to say, Father, I don't know what I'm doing that is keeping me locked in my person. And I'm praying for help to return home to who I am. With that said, one can never truly leave home. You can't leave who you are. That is not possible. You are who you are, and that core you of who you are is rooted as an experience of peace, joy, and love. It's not something you have to act out on. You don't need to try to be peaceful, try to be loving, try to be joyful. It's a natural expression. It's a natural state of being of who you are. So there's no trying, there's no effort. But when we are caught in certain kind of beliefs that we're identifying with as the truth of who we are, but are not the truth, that's what blocks us from simply recognizing the experience of peace, joy, and love, and the truth of who we are. So for me, as I'm caught in my personhood I can only speak from a place of honesty as much as possible. And in that honesty, some may come from my person, some may come from my core truth. But it is an awareness, and there is a truth about it all. Even from my person, I have enough of an awareness to just be honest with my thoughts, honest with my feelings, which I'm just being aware of. And who is it that is out of sorts? It's not me. It's not the true me. So when I recognize that I have these thoughts, these beliefs, and my person connecting with the person, these are still all thoughts and beliefs for me to just notice and be aware of. And there's another part of me that says, yeah, but I'm still not fully connected with who I am. Who is saying that? Is that the true me? Or again, is that just another thought that I have identified with as a truth? And it's good to just be conscious and aware of those things, because I recognize that it's not my core truth saying I'm out of sorts, because it's never out of sorts. It's perfectly aligned and connected with God and life itself. And so my person right now says, I'm missing something. What am I missing? And my core truth just is watching and witnessing that thought, witnessing that belief. And I feel the part of me that says, I don't want this experience. I don't like it. And yet I'm aware. I'm aware of that. And depending on where the awareness comes as to whether there's peace or not. Because the person can be aware, but still caught in wanting the situation to be different than it is. And the core truth is aware, of the person being aware. And it's aware of the person wanting things to be different than what it is. So the only reason that I or you could have stress in this kind of situation would be if there's still some kind of belief that we're hooked into that is saying, yeah, but there's still something missing. Yeah, but I'm still stressed. Yeah, but I still want things to be different than what they are. And for whatever reason, my person has connected and is holding on to this. And I'm not sure what I'm holding on to, honestly. I'm not sure what I'm holding on to, but from my perspective, the best I can do in this moment is to notice it, be aware of it, and if it doesn't release and let go, it's okay. Just to simply be present with that, to sit with that, to be with that. And also, I appreciate that I'm a compassionate person most of the time. and that, of course, is a label as well, a compassionate person. But I will say that it is helpful to add compassion into the mix for my humanness right now, for my personhood. And in the Ashaya Ascension meditation that I do, that we have a practice of compassion, because without compassion, we can never fully embrace and accept the humanness of who we are, nor can we embrace and accept the humanness of others. And we must do this if we are to return to a place of peace within. Because as long as we're in judgment to say, oh my God, that person is pure evil, they're bad, they're wrong, or we're pure evil or bad or wrong, then we can never experience the peace and truth of who we are. And I've been having an experience where someone has been just complaining about others a lot, and I notice how I don't like it. I don't like it. For one thing, I recognize that I can either love somebody or judge somebody. And I know the difference of what it feels like. Anytime I'm in judgment, I'm not only in judgment of them, but I'm in judgment of myself and the reflection of who they are to me. And so I feel this disconnect from who's ever complaining, and I feel myself disconnecting from myself as well in certain ways. But here's the truth. It doesn't matter that they're complaining. What matters is that I'm being bothered by their complaining. And so it is not up to them to change, because if I'm asking them to change, that's conditional love, and that's not the truth of who I am or you are. Unconditional love means that we don't ask anything of them, that we don't ask them to change in any way whatsoever. So what do? We simply notice that we have blame and judgment of them for blaming and judging others. And we can do the same thing with ourselves quite oftentimes. And sometimes I'll say, I'll do the example of somebody in their car cuts right in front of us and we're like, oh, that stupid idiot, I'm so angry right now. And then the other part of us chimes in, another belief, another thought system, and it says, now, Brett, that's not very loving, that's not very kind. And so what is that part saying? That part is saying that we're bad and we're wrong because we're not being spiritual and loving. So now we're beating ourselves up for beating someone else up, or we're beating ourselves up for beating ourselves up. If we're hard on ourselves and we're hard on somebody else, and then we're not okay with that, we're beating ourselves up for beating ourselves up, or we're beating ourselves up for beating somebody else up. It's all the same. So sometimes we get tricked, and it's easy on this path of spirituality to have a spiritual arrogance. I've done this many times, and if I'm being honest with you, I still do this. And that's all ego. Well, now, they're not being very loving, they're not very kind, and they're not treating others with love and respect. As long as I'm judging them, I am still in judgment myself. And there will not be peace in there. That is being caught in our person still. And maybe we have a certain amount of love or wisdom or peace or joy about us that they don't have. But as long as we're still judging them for not having those things, we're still caught up in our ego. We're still caught up in our person. And we're still caught up in the judgment and the disconnect of them and of us. And here's the thing. It's okay. It's okay. And that's where compassion comes in. To be compassionate for ourselves. And to be honest with you, I need to hear this right now. Because I have been hard on myself. If we're feeling disconnected from ourselves and from God, there's something we're doing where we're beating ourselves up, where we're not loving ourselves and we're not having compassion for ourselves. And it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. And sometimes we have a hard time getting out of this situation. And sometimes we're trying so hard to get out of the situation. We're trying to get out of the judgment, the blame. We're trying to get rid of the situation. We're trying to fix it or heal it as soon as possible so that we can end this experience that we're judging as bad. And I may have been dragging you into my own judgment and blame right now. And if I have, I sincerely apologize. And I invite you right now, as I'm going to do myself, just to take a nice deep breath and just let go of any stress or any worries, any blame or judgment that you have of yourself or of others. And just let it go and come back to this present moment. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little caught in my head right now. Maybe you want to be with me, maybe you don't. And it's okay either way. I can only say that it's kind of like when you're in a circle share, where everybody's in a circle and sharing how they feel. Now, we teach in this meditation to notice the thoughts and notice the feelings and just allow them to gently and effortlessly pass on by and come back to the present moment. Sometimes, in fact, it's never good to deny your feelings. It's never good to deny your feelings. We can recognize that we are not the feelings, that too is of the mind, because if you have a thought of anger, like, oh, I can't stand this person, so you have that thought. But if you have that thought and you believe that thought, that's when the feeling comes in. I can't stand that person. And then you might have a feeling of anger or hatred even. It's much more important to acknowledge and be aware of the feeling than to deny it. If you deny anger or hatred, this is what we call depression. Depression is unexpressed anger. And a lot of times you see when people are depressed, it's like, oh boy. But there's no fire in them. They're kind of lifeless. Why? Because they are not expressing or acknowledging this anger. This might be, if they were like, I am so angry, and I can't stand this person, and I'm so frustrated. And if they were to express themselves, that is at a higher vibration than to not acknowledge the anger and the hatred within, which again is called depression. And again, we're going a little bit dark, and yet it's still a necessary thing for us to sometimes deal with. And so right now, I can acknowledge I'm speaking from my person. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling disappointed in myself. And I'm aware of this thought, I'm aware of this feeling, but I feel like I need to speak this out. I'm feeling disappointed in myself. If you'll just hold the space for me to share this, please. I already feel better from letting that go. And what my awareness is that I notice that I have judgment about others who have judgment. And so I don't give myself permission to judge. I don't give myself permission to judge. And I don't want to cut myself off from that. It's okay. If that's the experience that I'm having, it's okay. And if I'm in my judgment and I don't like that other people are judging, just to be present and aware of that, to notice that, and it's okay that I'm judging them. It's okay. Because I recognize that it's not who I am, but I don't want to deny that I'm judging them. I don't want to beat myself up that I'm judging them. I simply want to notice that I'm judging them, and it's okay, and recognize that it is my person and not my true self. And that was very helpful for me, so I appreciate you being here with me and just holding the space for me to share that honestly, vulnerably, and truthfully. Yeah. And I already feel my heart more open. I feel myself more connected with me, more connected with God. And I know this is really all perfect. It's all perfect because I recognize that the person that has been sharing negatively with me, it's like I'm not wanting to judge this person. I'm wanting to connect and align with them, but every time they call, I feel myself pull away. And that's, of course, not what I want. I don't want that with anybody. And what's also true is I've stepped into this place of really stepping beyond judgment more and more, where I'm not judging others. But if I'm still not okay with others judging others, then I'm still not okay with, then there's still something I'm judging. Now, ultimately, when we step beyond the mind, beyond the ego, beyond the person, we let go of all of the blame and judgment of ourselves and all the blame and judgments of others. And ultimately, where those come from is all rooted in the mind, based in duality of this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. It's all in the duality. And at the very core of every judgment is fear. And again, as A Course in Miracles says, there's only either love or fear. And that's actually a really beautiful way of just returning home to who you are. Just recognizing that there's fears that we carry, and I know everybody listening to this meditation, whether you're here right now or you listen to this recording, if you've lasted this long, there's an awareness that you've had at some point in time where you had a fear and you transcended it, you healed it, you let go of it. And on the other side, when we release the fear, it is always replaced by love. And so what would happen if we were to transcend the mind where all the fears reside? If we were to step beyond, to recognize that we are not our thoughts, we are not our beliefs, we are not our feelings, we are not our fears, our blame, our judgment, our guilt, our shame, all of these that come from the mind and the beliefs of who we have thought ourselves to be at certain times, when we transcend that, the only thing that's possible to remain is love. The only thing that's possible to remain is peace, because we're not caught by it anymore. And the only thing possible to remain is gratitude and joy. You know, sometimes when we're caught in the quagmire and feel like we're being pulled down under into this perceived darkness, it feels sometimes like there's no way out. And quite oftentimes we're not liking that experience. But I just want to bring this full circle and just say how grateful I am that God continues to support us in a way that even though we judge it as challenging or difficult, or maybe we even judge it as bad or wrong, and how absolutely beautiful and perfect it always is. It's such a beautiful reminder that it's all exactly the way it needs to be. I can tell you that in the past, I never would have been this vulnerable or cried in front of others, because there's still that part of me, you know, being 61, I was raised up in a time where, you know, don't cry or I'll give you something to cry about kind of energy and attitude. And, you know, you got to be strong. If you're a man, you can't cry. And to me, that's probably why men have so many more heart attacks than women, is because it's unexpressed emotions. It's not okay to cry, is what the belief is. And the Dalai Lama has said that it will be, if women were to lead this world, there would be much more peace and not so much fighting and war in the world. And my teacher, Maharishi Sadashiva Asham, which I call Sadashiva, had said that if we're truly to make it out of this situation that we're in, and he referred to it as the final hour, it will be the women who lead us out of this. Why is that? Because women are typically more in their hearts. And again, ultimately we have to move beyond the emotions, but the only way we move beyond the head, beyond the thoughts, beyond the emotions, into the emotionless truth of who we are, that's beyond the mind, beyond the feelings, beyond the perceiving, and beyond the doing, beyond the body, beyond anything physical. What's left is simply, as A Course in Miracles says, either fear or love. What's left is love. What's left is peace. What's left is joy. What's left is the empty, pure, formless truth of who you are. But we have to acknowledge the feelings and at least be aware of them and not deny them if we're to get to this place. And when I say get to this place, it's to actually, it's not a physical place. It's being present right here, right now, and accepting and embracing the totality of who we are, which is the emotional body, accepting that as well. Accepting the angst and the frustrations and the anger, and even accepting the hatred. We have to be able to accept and embrace it all if we are to transcend the mind. So right now, I invite you just to let go of any stress, any worries, any heaviness. And part of me wants to apologize again, for if I took you into some darkness, but I can't. I won't. Because I recognize how absolutely perfect this moment is. And in truth, we never need to apologize to each other for just living the best that we know how in this moment. With that said, apology is different than forgiveness. And even though there's really nothing to forgive of anybody, because everybody, when people make mistakes, it's because they're caught in their person, in their ego, in the unconscious part of who they are. And when we make mistakes, because the core truth of who we are is in direct alignment with life and with God. And that's a divine perfection and a divine expression that flows through us. And so there's no mistakes. There's just only this divine perfection that flows through us, this divine expression. But when we make mistakes, it's because we're caught in our head, our ego, our person. And it's okay. There's nothing that you need to apologize for because you're doing your best. They are doing their best. There's nothing bad or wrong about anyone. We're simply caught in the unconscious truth of who we are. I don't want to put truth in there. We're caught in the unconscious self of who we believe we are. And I know from this experience that you being a part of this ride, even though it felt a little dark and maybe pulled you into certain energies, the only way it could pull you into a darkness and a feeling of aligning with depression with me in any way or stress in any way is because there's something within you that is resonating what happened with me. But the good news is that was then, this is now. We can completely let go of all of it and empty out and return home to the present moment and return home to who we are. This beautiful, loving light that is beyond the mind, the ego, the thoughts, the feelings. Again, we don't deny the feelings, but we don't have to be caught in them either. As Jesus said, be in the world, but not of it. And that is what he was referring to. To be here. Yes, to acknowledge and accept everything that's going on, but not of it. You don't have to be caught in the drama of any of it. So right now, I just invite you to not only let go of anything that you're holding on to, certainly stress, worries, but all the blame, the guilt, the shame, all the judgments, all the self-righteous opinions. And then just open your heart. Open your heart, open your mind, and just allow in love, allow in blessings, allow in grace, allow in the support of God and Jesus and all the saints and sages that are here to love you, to bless you, and support you, and pour their grace upon you. Eckhart Tolle once said, when you have a problem and you're fighting the problem, it's like going into a dark room and punching at the darkness, when all you need to do is turn the light on. Are you ready to turn the light on? Are you ready to just allow in the love, the sunshine, the beautiful loving light and sunshine, and allow in peace and joy and grace? And I say allow them in, but it's actually only returning home to who you are. But it's okay. It's okay. Just allow it in right now, that it lifts you up to a higher vibration of truth and peace and joy and love and God. And just allow it all in. Just allow the love and light to transform you and transport you, even though there's nowhere you need to go. Allow it to be a portal to return home to who you already are. This beautiful freedom, love, and light that you have always been and you will always be. And if there's anything less than love, peace, joy, God, just let it all go. I can't really say God because it's all God, but just anything less than love, peace, and joy, just let it all go. There is literally nothing you need to hold on to. You don't even need to hold on to anything physical for sure, but even your body, you don't need to hold on to it, because you are not your body, and it's not by holding on to the body that it keeps the body here serving you, because it's here because God has deemed it, has seen that this is the experience that best fits you. And so that's why it is here. It is manifest because it is simply what your core truth calls forth, so that you can have experiences that you can return home and remember who you are and who you have always been. Sometimes when we're meditating, we begin to lose that sense of our physical body. It's like we move beyond it. We're connecting with that formless, non-physical, empty truth of who we are, the one who is simply conscious and aware of the body, who is conscious and aware of the thoughts, conscious and aware of the feelings, and the experiences, and the memories, and the mind. You, the true you, is the non-physical, conscious awareness of it all. And that true you doesn't need one single thing of life to be any different than what it is. You literally are perfect, and there is not one single thing that needs to change about you. The only thing that needs to change is the idea of who you have believed yourself to be. And when you let go of that story and all the ideas and those all those things that you've stored as the beliefs of that you've carried as shame and guilt and blame and all the self-images, just letting all of that go to return home to this perfect, beautiful, whole, and complete you that is part of the ocean of God, that is the ocean of God. So all that remains is the pure love and light of who you are, the pure God essence of who you are, just emptying it all. And sometimes the mind is afraid to empty it all out because it's afraid it will disappear into the nothingness. Be aware if that thought and belief comes up. But I will say this, the only thing you can never empty out is you. You can never get rid of you. You can get rid of everything, absolutely everything, except for you, which is in complete alignment with God. So you can't get rid of God either. You are one and the same. The Father and you are one. And so just bringing your awareness, you can use the breath if you want to come back to just being aware of the breath, just watching it. No trying, no effort, no doingness is required. You're just witnessing it. Or you can just witness and listen to the silence. You can just witness and just witness the stillness. And of course, if any thoughts come in, just witness the thoughts, allow them to gently and effortlessly pass on by, and come back to being aware of whatever that focal point is for you. The breath, the stillness, the silence, it's all perfect. And if your mind has drifted, just simply coming back to whatever focal point you're using to be a witness to life. The breath, the stillness, the silence, any of them are perfect. And if your mind has drifted, just coming back to the present moment and back to your focal point. if your mind has drifted, just once again coming back to the present moment, coming back to the stillness, the breath, or the silence, and just being a witness to those things. Going to begin to bring this meditation to completion, so if you'd like to continue meditating, please mute or turn your device off, and thank you for being part of this with me. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you holding the space for me to have my experience and move things through. And for those of you who are ready to finish the meditation, just taking a nice deep breath in and just moving your arms, stretching a little bit, moving your body, getting that energy flowing back in there, and taking your time, and whenever you're ready, opening your eyes. And I'm going to go over to Facebook here, experience and move things through. And let's see, sharing your vulnerability is powerful. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you. Not always been easy for me to do, but I'm getting better at it. And to be honest with you, it's probably because I know it's you and Sandy and usually Nancy or Sharon or somebody, and my other friend Cheryl. So I feel pretty comfortable with all of you. So thanks for making it a safe space for me to do that. And I see the hearts. Thank you. And let me go over, and I don't know if it's Sandy or who's here. So let me see. And Sandy, I'll leave this open just for a moment if that's you. And you usually click the like on there and usually do a comment if you want to say something. And if you don't, that's okay too. But let's go back over to Facebook real quick here. I know there's somebody else out there. If you want to say hi, you can. If not, that's perfectly fine. I don't have any attachment to that. Sandy, let's see. This reminded me how much meditation has released me from my judgmental habit. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, me too. Me too. And I'm to the point I just really don't want to judge people anymore. Like I said, I know the difference between judgment and love. Why would I want to choose judgment? And the more I practice letting go of judgment with others, it helps me to have compassion for myself and to not judge myself. So yes, you're right. Thank you. I'm so glad that's helpful. And so so I think that's about it. I'm going to close these things out. Thanks, you guys. Meditation tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the evening. If you want to join Zoom, Facebook. If not, maybe I'll see you on Thursday morning. Okay? Namaste, my friends. I love you guys.